Ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Monday, September 12th at midnight, you can save 10% off Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT10 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels? JM Sports, Joseph D'Amico, and the Rocket Man? The combinations are endless as you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make up your dream lineup? Go to WagerTalk or Sports Memo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand select your handicapping roster. Don't forget that coupon code PYT will expire on September 12th, so get your 10% discount and put together your personalized dream team today.
Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Carmine Bianco, and this is Stoppage Time for Thursday. We are going to cover 3 Premier League games that go this weekend. We're going to touch on Fulham hosting Chelsea, Leicester City taking on Aston Villa, and our Premier League match, the featured match this week, is Man City Tottenham. Always a good one, but especially with these 2 teams and the way they're playing right now. With me from WagerTalk.com, it's Kevin Dolan and Nick Borrman, and Pavlos Laguretos, of course, from Sports Memo, one of my favorite prop guys. Let's bring him in. Boys, Champions League match day 1 is over. And let me throw at you guys a few of the surprises, I think, and you guys can tell me what you think. Chelsea, obviously, losing away. Thomas Tuchel, gone as Chelsea manager. Celtic played a very good 60 minutes, and unfortunately, the games are 90 minutes long. Real Madrid, defending champions, win 3-0. PSG struggled at home against Juventus, only winning 2-1. Leipzig surprised by Shakhtar, who again on match day 1 surprised another team. And you had Frankfurt, last year's Europa League champions, 3-0 losers at home to Sporting. And of course, Napoli, once again, for the 3rd time in Champions League, beat Liverpool at home. Any shockers for you guys there?
The Liverpool scoreline was certainly an eye-opener. I mean, not that Napoli won, but the way they smashed Liverpool, I'm sure we were all a little taken aback by. And Karma, I guess another shocker was that PSG didn't beat Juve by a bigger number, because I know you wanted it. You want some changes to happen there. The only game I'm kicking myself for not getting on was the Shakhtar game. Leipzig has just not looked good this year, and I was really looking at Shakhtar. They were getting 2 goals, but I didn't know how to take them with Ukraine and their situation going on and how much football they've been playing over there. But honestly, I don't think there's a ton of surprises. I wasn't even surprised by the Zagreb the win versus Chelsea. I know Kevin and I were both on Dynamo Zagreb in that game, so there's not a lot of surprises here. But the Liverpool game is certainly one. There's a fake account for the Europa League on Twitter, and they tagged LFC, said, "Hey Liverpool," gave a wave like you're coming down to the Europa League soon. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, no. It's a surprise. Liverpool hasn't been at their best, and I didn't want to take that game, even though I talked about on the last show taking a Napoli plus half a goal in that one. It's just that this Liverpool team has so much talent that at some point they're going to put it all together. I just didn't know when it was going to happen, and I didn't want it to be on my account when they did it. The Chelsea one, first of all, the PSG one, I wanted them to win by a bigger score line in that one. And I think if Mbappe actually passed the ball a few times, they might have scored a 3rd and 4th goal in that one. Unfortunately, with a 2-1 win, it actually looks like Massimo Allegri survives another game as Juventus manager. And, the problem is it's just a Band-Aid on a stab wound. At some point, this team, unfortunately, with guys injured and not coming back until the new year, are going to bleed out. So we'll see what happens, because you saw Chelsea. They dropped that game 1-0. Thomas Tuchel gone. And Kev, you said it. The right man for the job, Graham Potter.
he is the right man for the job, and we see this so often. They look towards European coaches. Graham Potter was heavily considered for the Manchester United role a couple of months ago as well, but they came to the conclusion, even though he was one of the two finalists in the boardroom supposedly, that he didn't have enough European experience. Well, how are you meant to get it? If he brought Brighton into the Champions League, he'd be an absolute magician. So he is the right man for the job. I'm glad Chelsea are finally, instead of the usual Poch, guys who've done the Champions League before, give a guy like this the chance, because to me, he surely proved it already with what he's done at Brighton.
All right. And one last one, because I want to get Pavlos into this. Pavlos, I was looking at some of the final stats yesterday in some of these games, and I think you talked about that Atletico Madrid Porto game. You're like, this is a game where we're going to see a ton of yellow cards. And lo and behold, there's a ton of yellow cards.
We did actually. It was one of my best bets for yesterday, the over 4.5 cards. I also had a few small bets on combo bets, like each team to get a couple of cards each. I also gave out the red card at the first family of Vegas yesterday in the show with Joe D'Amico and Dion D'Amico. I gave out 3 plays. All 3 were won. One of them was my best bet. I feel sorry for the guys that had the under in that match, to be honest. Actually, I had a couple of my friends who had the under, and then the match was 0-0 at the 90th minute. They switched off the television, and then I called them and told them, did you see what happened? He said, no, I won my ticket. What happened? And I told him, open the TV. And then 3 goals in the stoppage time, penalty kicks, red cards. This match had it all. It was a very, very quiet first half that kind of got me sweating a little bit. But the second half was exactly what we expected in terms of cards, fouls, and all that stuff. Nice 5% winner with Napoli yesterday. Of course, we all touched on that on Tuesday's show. Liverpool, again, I'm going to say it again, they were cruising for a bruising. They got their bruising. Now they might, be better in the next couple of matches. I'm not really sure. Bayern Munich got the job done, which was also my 4% bet. Not many surprises yesterday. But the day before, I was actually surprised to see Benfica keeping a clean sheet against Maccabi Haifa, which was really weird. Celtic should have gotten a goal there. My initial play was Real Madrid to win and over 2.5 goals. But then I went to the both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Of course, that was a bad mistake on my end. I was kind of expecting Red Bull Leipzig to not cover the -2, but I never expected a 4-1 loss to Shakhtar Donetsk. But yeah, there's a couple of more interesting matches in the Europa League today, but let's talk some EPL because there's also some very, very, very interesting matches this weekend.
Yes, there definitely is. And I had a fantastic, I think, a very good Champions League match day 1, culminating with obviously Man City covering the number 4-0 at Sevilla. That team continues to struggle. My only regret is probably not listening to Kev and Nick as I took Chelsea. I was on the wrong end of that one. So that's probably the one loser that on over the 2 days that I regret. Anyways, with that said, guys, before we get into this Fulham Chelsea, which we're going to do really quickly, I want to mention a promo. This is a great one. This one is only a 2-day promo. This coupon expires Friday at midnight. SOC39. If you use the code SOC39, you'll get 3-day all access for soccer for only $39. That's $10 more than what a normal 1-day package costs in soccer. So SOC39, if you use it today, you'll get all the plays on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you use it on Friday, you'll get them right through till Sunday. SOC39 on any one of the pages for the 4 guys on this show. It's a great deal. All right, Fulham, Chelsea, guys. Let's have a look at the numbers on this one. Fulham plus 320 at home. The draw is plus 280. Chelsea minus 125 as a short favor on the road. Guys, this is the early game on Saturday. It's always that tricky fixture, and it's a London derby to boot. Fulham unbeaten at home with wins over Brighton and Brentford and a draw against Liverpool. I think that was in their first game, a 2-2 draw. Each of those ones went over the total of 3. If you're a totals better, you look at Chelsea, and after opening with a 1-0 win at Everton, they've lost a couple games, dropping games to Leeds and Southampton. That Leeds one, they were embarrassed in the first half. This is probably why Tuchel is gone as well too. Nick, I'm going to keep this short and sweet before I go to you. I am going to go with that angle that I like all the time. A brand new manager at a team. I love taking the team after they appoint a new manager. And for me, that's Chelsea. I'm going to lay the very small number with Chelsea here. I think we're going to see a different configuration from this team. And we'll get to see if even with that bit of an injury, Aubameyang, he'll be wearing that face guard. I am going to lay the minus 125 here. Look for him to get on the board if he's in the starting 11, and Chelsea to get back into the W column. Chelsea for me, minus 125. Where are you going, Nick?
Carm, am in 100% agreement. I'm not going to, besides you just talking about the manager sacking effect, which we seem to talk about, every year with that first guy that gets, whoever it is, that gets sacked. There's not much else for me to say about Chelsea. We're all in agreement. Chelsea have the talent. They should be, getting better results than they are. Maybe this Graham Potter will get on the sidelines, which is expected to be on the sidelines for this game, and turn that team around. So I'm going to focus just on some data on Fulham, just to kind of back up why I think Chelsea is a good play here. Fulham, you look at the results, you're going to quickly go, wow, that's pretty solid. They got 8 points already. Their only 2 losses were against Tottenham and Arsenal, goal losses. Otherwise, they've won twice at home. They beat Brentford and a very good Brighton team, who Potter's coming from, as well as drawing against Liverpool. But I would be weary and warn you to look a little bit deeper into to some of the numbers during those games. Listen, at the end of the day, the results are all that matters. But against the top 6 teams they've played, which is Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, they've averaged just 0.86 expected goals, allowed 2.5. Digging a little deeper on the season, 6 games, they've generated 6.11 non-penalty expected goals, which ranks 15th in the league. And defensively, they've allowed 11.05, the second most in the league. So I talk about XG, Kevin. A lot of us talk about XG all the time. And yeah, it's never going to predict the outcome of a match, but it is a good indicator for long-term results of which way a team is likely to start trending. And to me right now, Fulham is way overperforming. Chelsea has only one direction to go, in my opinion. That's up. If both of these teams are playing as expected coming into this game, I think we're seeing Chelsea laying a goal. I think it could be -1. So I think we're getting a bargain at minus 125, and I was already quick to get my money on Chelsea on this match. So I agree with you, Carm. Chelsea's the way for me to go here.
All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com, and Pavlos. What he said at the end is what I was going to lead on, which is if these teams were playing, or Chelsea at the very least were playing the way we expect them to play, over the course of the year, they would be laying a lot more than minus 125 here. It seems like a bargain. But, it's one thing that, Kev and I sometimes talk about is that early 7:30 fixture, Eastern time, of course, in North America, seems to be the one with sometimes the weirdest results. But I still have to lean at Chelsea here. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near Chelsea. That's just me personally. Whenever a team sacks their manager, they tend to perform better than what they used to, because of course they were performing badly in order for the manager to be sacked. So changes in managers do sometimes produce weird results in their next match. Weird in the sense that who knows what the new manager is going to do. He's going to try to shape up the defense. Is he going to try to to fire up the offense, because their offense, this Chelsea offense has not been that good this season. Yes, they've scored in almost all their matches. They failed to score against Zagreb and Leeds, which is kind of worrisome. But now, with Aubameyang back in the lineup, I'm not sure how they're going to operate. I do see goals here, as Fulham, they have a tendency to create a lot of, let's say, high-scoring situations in their home matches so far in the season. We saw that in the 2-2 draw against Liverpool, 3-2 win over Brentford, 2-1 win over Brighton, who up to that point, they were one of the best and the biggest surprises in the season. Fulham will not hold back. They know that Chelsea are hurting right now. Of course, they know that the change in coach must do some good to this Chelsea side. Maybe Chelsea can win, but I can't really steer away from goals here. No matter who the manager in this particular match is, I don't think there's enough time for for Chelsea to sign a manager and for the manager to look at the team and see who's going to play. I think it's going to be one of the assistant coaches that leads Chelsea in this match. But yeah, this is a tricky match in my perspective. I think maybe both teams getting on the score sheet. Of course, Chelsea are performing much worse than we all expected at the start of the season, with the additions of Koulibaly and Fofana in the defense, along with Cucurella. I mean, this should be a defensive juggernaut, but they're not. They could have considered at least a couple of more goals against Dinamo Zagreb. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in this match. It's a very tricky match in my perspective, but I think the over 2.5 goals is the way to go here. I'll have a small stake bet on the over 2.5. I don't care who's winning this. I just want to see goals.
All right. I'm going to throw it right back at you quickly, Pavlos, because you mentioned, both teams scoring. You mentioned over 2.5 goals, and the both teams scoring and over 2.5 goals prop is plus 110. And if you look at Fulham's games, 6 games thus far, 5 of them have won if you were playing both teams to score and over 2.5. The only game that didn't win was the 0-0 draw with Wolverhampton, and I'm not sure many people would want to take that prop with Wolverhampton. Is that something you would take?
Yeah. I think the price is much better with the both teams to score and over 2.5 goals combo. I don't really see Fulham winning by 3-0. Chelsea, maybe. I just think Fulham get on the score sheet. I underestimated them, and Mitrovic is performing at a really nice, really optimal level. So, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals is actually a much better play because you get an extra, 20, 30 cents. I think it's nice, yes.
Yeah, I think that's where I am going. So let's try and catch this one together. Final word to the Irishman, Kevin Dolan.
I want one of those gavel hammers, Carmine, so I can slam it down the desk and be like, objection. Because look, I don't know if it'll make my card, but I actually lean under in this one. I also think you were talking about the early kickoff. I think that West Brom 5-2 victory a couple of seasons ago against Chelsea also came in the early kickoff. So there are some massively bizarre results. You would have got some odds on that. But, look, Tuchel's firing had to come eventually because fading this Chelsea team week in, week out has been absolute dollar bills over recent weeks. Did it again for my best bet on Tuesday's show with Dynamo Zagreb. I have heard some people say, he should have been given more time with all the new additions to the squad, spent 300 million in the transfer window, as we said. Those people are wrong. He'd lost the dressing room. He needed to be out the door. Because he was always criticising as well. I mean, he even got on my nerves, so I can imagine only the players having to listen to him. Always complaining that it was not his fault, it's the players' fault, they're not tough enough, they're not working hard enough. So, yeah, he's gone now. As I said, I think Graham Potter is the right move. He's the type of manager that I think can take this team to the next level. But I've also been impressed with Marco Silva. As I said in the show before as well, I think Fulham, they might be over pumping their numbers a little bit, but nevertheless, I like the way they're playing. They're playing kind of attractive attacking football, instead of that usual 10 men deep routine. So I do agree with Pavlos in respect of, no matter who the manager is, they just don't have enough time to make an impact for Chelsea. So I'm just not sure what we're going to get out of this Chelsea team. The one weakness you would say for Fulham, as Nick mentioned, is in their defence. Fulham ranked stone last in defensive XG at home. But I'm going to fade those trends in this one. Chelsea have scored just 1 goal from open play on the road all season. They come off, a pretty humiliating defeat, against Dynamo Zagreb. I mean, Mason Mount's market valuation alone is worth almost as much as the entire Dynamo Zagreb team. So, I mean, to get owned by that degree is pretty embarrassing. But Chelsea shine in this kind of spot. They've won 8 of the last 9 London derbies away from home, 7 of those coming to 0. So, Chelsea will have to try and place an emphasis on defence here, in my opinion. I think at the other end, Marco Silva is probably a little tired, despite his bright start of the season, of giving up late goals in games. He gave up a late goal against Tottenham, late goals against Arsenal, both London derbies there too. So he'd no doubt want, to at least have a manageable defence in this game. And he'll probably view this game as a potential draw. I mean, I'm not sure he'll be... Well, I suppose, obviously, if he's in an optimistic mood and he got on the right side of bed, he could see this as a win. But I think he'd obviously take a draw against Chelsea as wounded as they are on Saturday. So I think both teams will be a little bit more cautious here overall. Chelsea with the new approach, and Marco Silva, kind of looking to target a point here. So the under 2.75 widely available right now, 2.5 at plus money, probably looks even better. But no matter which way I slice this, I don't think we'll see a ton of goals in this one. So under 2.5 for me.
All right, Kevin Dolan, WagerTalk.com. We got some differing views on this game, but that's what makes this show what it is. And Kev, yeah, I know you're not looking for goals, but Aubameyang plus 160 to score anytime. You'll get a full game for the Blues after only playing about 60 minutes, I think, in that Champions League game. Plus 160, man. A few bucks on it, and you'll be having pints with your buddies on me this weekend. All right, let's get to the second game on the card. Leicester City, Aston Villa. Let's look at the numbers on this one. Leicester City. We got a lot of pluses right across the board. Leicester City plus 145. The draw is plus 250. Aston Villa plus 180. Kev, I'm going to go right back to you, but I'm going to say this. This is an interesting one because, when I looked and placed my preseason futures, and you can still get that guide on my page at Wager Talk for free. You can download it. I took Leicester City to finish bottom 10 in the league. Never did I believe 6 games in that they would have 5 losses and a draw and be bottom of the table. But here they are. And the pressure is clearly on after seeing Tuchel gone. The pressure is clearly on Brendan Rodgers. He's in the hot seat in this one. He needs 3 points, but they're playing Aston Villa, who are equally 1-1-4. They've only picked up 4 points thus far, but I think they're playing better than their results indicate. In that 1-1 draw against City, they had a plan against Man City, and that plan, they picked up a point. It went as planned. They got a point against Man City. Not a lot of teams are going to pick up points against Man City this year. I think they're playing a lot better, and that price plus 180-ish is so tempting that I've got to sprinkle money on Aston Villa to come in and pick up the win here. So I'm taking Aston Villa plus money here as my play. Kev, can you talk me off of it?
It's amazing to see the decline in this Leicester squad, as you said, Carmine, over the last couple of seasons. Their last 4 games against Aston Villa, this is a Midlands derby. Chronologically, has seen them go from, they were minus 357 favourites against Villa all the way back in January 2020. Then they moved to minus 200 favourites. Then the plus 135 favourites. Then a switch around to plus 190 underdogs actually in their last game, to now where, they're barely being favoured again against an Aston Villa side. I know you mentioned the Man City result, but they've looked really poor to me this season as well. 3 straight losses on the road. So, the progression in terms of Leicester is very real. Brendan Rodgers is now the bookies' form favourite to go next in the sack race, understandably when you're sitting bottom of the table. So while I don't love this game, it definitely won't be a 5% play for me this weekend. If I am playing it, I'm still likely going to take Leicester on the pick'em line in this one. The optics at Leicester, I get it. They're really bad right now, winless on the season so far, bottom of the table, 5 straight defeats. But, they did play at Chelsea tough a couple of weeks ago. Should have got a result in that game. Not that that's anything to brag about, with the way Chelsea have been playing over the last couple of weeks. They played Manchester United tough as well, had more attacks than United in that game, more goal attempts. So they have been marginally unlucky in games this season. And, on the other side, we have a Villa team coming off that 1-1 draw against Manchester City, as you said. A result, most people are likely to be fairly impressed by, but Villa was smashed to bits in that game against the City team, who were obviously looking forward to a Champions League game in midweek. Villa had just 1 shot on target over the 90 minutes. They put up just 0.28 XG on the offensive end. That was the lowest generated chances created out of any team in match day 6. So while I don't love Leicester by any means, they are still the better team for me talent-wise. Brendan Rodgers is still a better manager than Stevie G. They're playing at home. And as a kind of capsule to this game, Villa lost 3 of their first 4 games to open up this season. All of those teams ranked 13th or lower in the table. Bournemouth actually represent the team in the highest position over that run. So, two really poor teams clashing here on Saturday. Give me the more talented one with the better manager playing at home in this one for me. So, yeah, I would take Leicester at Peckham.
All right, Kevin Dolan, WagerTalk.com. Pavlos, he mentioned it. Two poor teams. Sometimes with two poor teams, I like to get the better price, which Aston Villa seems to be here. You look at Leicester, and Brendan Rodgers did change up the lineup a little bit in his last game. He went with two forwards and stuck Vardy on the bench, and they get that quick goal right out of the gate, less than a minute into the game. But it all fell apart after that, losing 5-2. Can anything change here?
Yeah, I was actually looking at the lineups because I'm also involved in fantasy EPL, and I was glad to see Leicester changing the lineup, moving away from Vardy, who is now 35 years old. Yes, he's talented. He's worked his ass off in his entire life to be here, but I think Leicester, at least offensively, they performed much better with the speed of Daka and Iheanacho, who are always in there. Creating problems for the opposing sides. Of course, their defense just was horrible once again, conceding 5 goals to Brighton. I mean, that was just a terrible defensive effort from Leicester, who, they've had defensive troubles for the last couple of seasons. They used to have Ricardo Pereira at the right flank, who up to a couple of seasons ago, he was one of the best in terms of returns. One of the best wing backs in the EPL, and now for the past couple of seasons, I think he's only played like 5-10 matches. He's been having a lot of injuries, and then you got the absence of centre backs. After Fofana left, they're now using Ndidi and Amartey, who are both holding midfielders as a centre back as centre backs, which is a nice, it's a good tactic, but then you pair them up with Johnny Evans, who is far from a good player for a Leicester side that wants to do something in the EPL. And then you got Thomas on the left flank, who had a yellow card, had an own goal in the previous match. Just terrible defense for this Leicester side, who, by the way, have a lot of talent in the midfield and up front with Maddison, with Tielemans, Soumare, Barnes. They have a lot of talent up front, but they can't really find a way to get the best out of it. So this defense is not gonna fix itself, and if it does, it will probably take a lot of time. So I don't think that they're gonna be able to hold off this Villa side, who, by the way, I'm kind of disappointed by this Villa side. I expected them to do much better this season, but they had a really bad injury to their star centre back, Diego Carlos, who was injured, I believe, in the second match of the season. Coutinho is a shell of himself. He doesn't really play all that good. There's all kinds of stuff going wrong for Aston Villa, but I think they can find at least one goal against this Leicester really soft defense, maybe multiple goals. The only way I see this match is taking the goals here. I like the over 2.5 goals at -117, I believe it was, unless the line shifted a little bit. But I just don't see a low-scoring match here unless Leicester somehow take out a magic wand and fix their defense all of a sudden. But I do see both teams getting on the score sheet. I like the over 2.5 goals. Maybe you can take the combo, but I wouldn't be surprised if Leicester burst out, with a 3-0 win or something like that. But all things considered, I'm going to take the over 2.5 goals at -117. I think this match has a lot of goals.
All right, Nick, I'm going to give you the final word on that. Paulo says maybe they get the magic wand out and fix their defense. They might have to fix their offense against Aston Villa. Last season, they dropped 4 of 6 points to Villa, and their last 2 games against Villa at King Power Stadium, they have not found the back of the net. 180-plus minutes held off the score sheet against this Villa team. Are you seeing goals here? What do the XG numbers tell us?
Yeah, I'll be quick here. Kevin and Pavlos talked enough about it, but yeah, it's 2 bad defenses that probably see this game as a much-needed win. So I think they're going to press and move and do whatever they can to get there. Leicester, the second most goals allowed in the league through 6 games. They've allowed 16 behind only Bournemouth, who, remember, allowed 9 to Liverpool. So you make that just 6 goals to Liverpool, and Leicester is now the worst. So that just gives you an idea how bad they've been. 1.79 expected goals allowed, 5th worst in the league. Leicester's still been scoring, though. They've only held scoreless in 1 match, and obviously that means 5 of 6 matches have gone over the total. Villa, they've had just 3 of their 6 matches go over the total, but they've conceded at least 1 in all 6. Their XGA numbers, expected goals allowed numbers, are nearly as bad as Leicester at 1.66 per game. And the recent history of the teams is slightly to the over. 2 of the last 3 over the total, 4 of the last 6 over the total. But really, it's situation right now. These teams need to win. I mean, Leicester, 1 point. That's not good. So I think they're going to do whatever they can. You can't trust their defenses to win the game, so I think they're going to have to win it on the front foot. So over 2.5 goals seems like the play.
All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com. Guys, we're going to get into our featured match this weekend, and it goes Saturday, the 12:30 Eastern time game. And let's have a look at the numbers on this one. We've got Man City minus 275 at home. The draw is plus 450, and Tottenham plus 650. And Pavlos, before I go to you, I'm just going to quickly talk about this one. Spurs won both meetings last year. They're 4-1-1 against the City team over the last 3 years. They play well against them. This is at the Etihad, though, and City right now are a well-oiled machine. 3 wins at home thus far, winning by a 14-2 margin. I don't think Antonio Conte is coming to the Etihad to play to play park the bus type of game and trying to get a result. But I also think he doesn't want to get into an up and down, wide open game. I think it's somewhere in the middle, and somewhere in the middle is where I'm going to land, because I think with all the talent on the field, we're still going to see goals on this one. And the total, surprisingly, is at 3 right now, but it's juiced to the over, and that likely means that it's going to hit 3.25, which is the split line of 3.5. I'm still going to take it. Grab the 3s if you can get them, pay the little bit of juice, and I'm going over the total in this one. Tell me what you got.
Well, this is, of course, a tricky match to predict. Manchester City were supposed to be a good defensive side. Trust me, because, again, I'm going to have to go to the fantasy lineups where I have 3 City defenders that can't really keep a clean sheet. And they've been costing me a lot of points and some money, because I've taken some City to win to nils this season and they didn't really work out. Well, Tottenham, I think they're a better defensive side, no matter how weird that sounds, against when you compare them actually to Manchester City. I think Conte will take a very, very careful approach here. He doesn't really want to lose to Manchester City. Both teams are tied at 14 points. A draw here would be very, very, very good for the Tottenham side. I think he's gonna just try to shut everything off in this match. We also saw Tottenham struggle to beat Marseille last night in the Champions League. It took a red card for Marseille in the start of the second half to allow this match to kind of open up a bit, because the first half was really, really poor in terms of scoring chances. Tottenham didn't even have a single shot on target. Marseille had just 1. So I think we'll see a cat and mouse game between Tottenham and Manchester City. We got 2 very, very defensive-minded coaches in Conte and Guardiola. I was going to say Tuchel for some reason. He's back there in my mind still. But yeah, looking at how Tottenham won both matches against City last season, I think Pep is going to, want to take his revenge. But here's the thing. Both teams are playing in the Champions League in just a few days. So no matter how deep, and these are 2 of the deepest rosters in the EPL, of course, Manchester City are by far the deepest, but Tottenham's, bench is really, really quite deep as well. No matter how much they rotate in this match, I do feel that we're going to see a low-scoring match, maybe a 2-1 for either side. Maybe I'm kind of convinced that this is going to be a draw, to be honest. I'm going to throw some money on the draw. But I just don't see a lot of goals here. I think at some point Manchester City will try to manage, all these consecutive playing on Tuesday or Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, and then on the weekend, and then Tuesday and Wednesday again, and then again on the weekend. All these consecutive matches are bound to take a toll on the players, and Pep knows that this is a World Cup year and a weird World Cup year as well. That was a brain teaser. And he's going to try to protect his players at all costs. He doesn't really want anyone to get injured. So I think we'll see a very low tempo in this match. And I think, personally, that 3 goals is a maximum here. So I like the under 3 goals at, what was the price? I think it was at plus money.
All right, our next disagreement on the show, but that's fine, Pavlos. One of us will win unless it lands on 3, and we push our wager on that one. Nick, I'm going to go to you, and he mentions both these teams in Champions League. Tottenham will play on Tuesday as they go to Portugal to take on, I believe it's Sporting. And then, of course, City on Wednesday, a big game at home against Dortmund as Erling Haaland's former side comes to visit. Does that play in at all? Haaland with 10 goals thus far, 1 assist in the Premier League. He's top of the scoring leaderboard right now, minus 150 to score on Saturday.
Just wake me up when Pavlos is done breaking it down. I'll be ready. Oh, it's my turn. Okay. Sorry, Pavlos. To me, listen, I could go total. I could go side. I'm going to go real simple, and I'm going to go Erling Haaland on the score sheet. It is a high price for a goal scorer, minus 150, but 12 goals so far in 8 matches. Let's forget the very first game of the year, the Community Shield against Liverpool. He scored in all but 1 game. Of course, that was the only game I've ever been to in my life in a Premier League match, and I didn't see Haaland put one on the score sheet. But, I mean, this guy is – they figured out. They know how to get him the ball. He knows where to position himself with this team. He's going to score a goal here. There's just no doubt in my mind. If anybody's getting on the score sheet, it's him. You know, I think that the total on the side, in my opinion, are priced pretty good. So I just didn't see a ton of value there. But I don't have a lot to say. Haaland's going to score. He's scoring 6 to 7 without that Community Shield. The price is not nearly enough to keep me away. I think we see Haaland. You might want to even look at Haaland to score 2 or more. Obviously, get a plus money number on that. But Erling Haaland, anytime goal score, minus 150.
All right, Nick Borrman. Kev, Nick goes to the only game that Erling Haaland does not score. It's like he sucked the life out of him. Similar to what Antonio Conte did to Thomas Tuchel when they had that famous handshake. I think he sucked the life out of Thomas Tuchel, and now he's on the outside looking for a job. So, Pep, if you're watching this show, and I know you're not, you might not want to shake hands with Antonio Conte at the end of Saturday's featured game. But Kev, tell us where you're going on this one.
Well, I'll start with this, Carmine. The last time Tottenham won back-to-back games against Manchester City back in 2020, City came out in that third game, absolutely blew the doors off Tottenham. 3-0 blowout victory, 76-19 dangerous attack advantage in that game as well. You know, Pavlos mentioned it. We know Pep tends to take these kind of slights against them personally. And I'd be absolutely shocked if Tottenham can pull out win number 3 against them here, you know, on Saturday at the weekend. We talked on last week's show about Arsenal's easy schedule. But this Tottenham squad have been playing a fairly, you know, powder puff schedule themselves this year. You know, Southampton, Wolves, Forest, Fulham. 2 good sides on paper, and West Ham and Chelsea. But, you know, we know how they've been playing, not in the best form themselves. So, you know, I get it. Tottenham are 3rd in the table. They're undefeated on the season, level on points with Manchester City. But to me, at least, they're still relatively unproven with that schedule. Still a mammoth gulf between where these 2 sides are at for me. And even with that, you know, creamy, bonbon, slipper-wearing schedule that Tottenham have played, Tottenham have only won the XG battle in 4 of those 6 games as well. So it's not like they've been dominating those quote-unquote easy teams either. The main question in this one is, look, you know, Tottenham are going off at the same price as Manchester United were in this very same venue back in March earlier this year. Same price roughly as Arsenal were in August of last year on the road as well. So it kind of gives you a gauge of where Tottenham are or where the bookmakers think they are. So this being an odds-based show, obviously, the question is, you know, do we believe Tottenham are at or around that kind of Manchester United-Arsenal level? If that is the case, then this is a fair line. Maybe even some value on the City side of the place. City won both of those previous 2 games by a 9-1 aggregate scoreline. Or are Tottenham up there with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, as the table suggests, possible genuine title contenders this season? In my opinion, it's the former. I don't think Tottenham are the finished article by any means. And that's not me saying they're a bad team. I just think they're at that Manchester United Arsenal level rather than, the elite of Europe. So what I most certainly, as I said at the start, do not see happening this weekend is Pep losing 3 on the bounce to this team either. I think he's going to draw a line in the sand with this one. So lean to Manchester City for me, minus the 1.5 to get the job done by margin here on Saturday.
All right, Kevin Dolan at WagerTalk.com. Guys, before we get into our best bet segment of the show, where we're going to look across some of the teams in Europe and North America and give you 4 additional free plays, a couple things I want to mention. Number one, we have crossed the 100,000 subscribers on WagerTalk TV. I'm looking at the numbers here, 100,043. We absolutely appreciate you guys always tuning in, subscribing to our channels, watching our shows, commenting on them. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We thank you very much. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that button and turn on your notifications. One other thing, of course, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we have our promo, Sock 39. This is only for 2 days. This will expire Friday at midnight. You can get a 3-day all-access package for only a soccer all-access package for only $39 when you use code SOCK39 at checkout. So click on the soccer menu, click on 3-day soccer all-access, use code SOCK39, and you'll get 3 days for only $39. That's $10 more than what a daily package goes for. Now, with that said, business is done. Let's get to our best bet segment. Nick Borrman, tell us what you got.
I'm going to stick with MLS, which I've done all year, and now I'm looking at doing, taking Austin plus half goal to start on the road here at Seattle. Seattle, I gave a lot of excuses for at the beginning of the year. They had Champions League football, and it's hard for MLS teams to juggle that, and they struggled. And I expected it would get better at some point, but it did not. So Austin, they've been steady all year. They're off back-to-back losses just the second time this year. Last time they did it, they went in LAFC and won. And expected goal numbers, not a lot of difference between these two teams, but the difference is a finisher like Sebastian Driussi, for Austin has fueled them, 20 goals, second most in the league. So give me the head start, Austin, plus a half a goal. This is Saturday, MLS.
All right, Nick, best of luck with that. Pavlos, you are taking us back to the Premier League. Tell us what you got.
I am taking you guys back to the Premier League, and I'm going to put my hand in the fire here and take the under 3 goals in the Liverpool versus Wolves match. Liverpool are coming off a really tough loss against Napoli by 4-1 in the Champions League opener, and they've been struggling all season, really, really bad. They've only won 2 matches. Of course, both wins came at home, and now they're returning at home for this next match. But this is a very, very tricky match against a Wolves side that is always very, very good defensively. Wolves are 5-1 to the under 3 goals so far in the season with 5 wins and 1 push. So not one of their matches has gone over 3 goals. And when you look at these 2 matches historically, in 24 matches all time, the under 3 has 10 wins, 2 losses, and 6 pushes. So in the last 24 matches, actually in all 24 matches between the 2 sides, only 2 times their matches have gone over the total of 3. Of course, each of the last 2 those 2 times that it lost were the last 2 matches between the 2 sides in this venue. But last season, there was it was on course for a 1-1 draw. Then Liverpool scored a couple of late goals. So all things considered, I think Liverpool have a lot of internal search to do. I think, as Coach Klopp said yesterday, their problem is mental, and I think he's going to try to shape up the defense at first, because that defense against Napoli was simply tragic. They looked like little kids against Napoli, and Napoli they took every piece of whatever Liverpool gave them in the offense. Wolves don't have a really good offense. Their newest signing, Sasakara, just suffered a season-ending injury. Raul Jimenez is a shell of himself. So I think they would be more than okay with a draw here, maybe a goalless draw, a 1-1 draw. But even if Liverpool win, I just don't see them blowing Wolves out. So I like the under 3 goals here.
All right, Kevin Dolan, we are going to you now, and you're going to one of your favorite countries and your favorite soccer leagues, League One. Tell us what you
Yeah,
got.
I love baguettes, Carmine. I love baguettes and wine, so why not? Let's head over to France. And it's going to be on Trois, as Pavlos taught me last season, plus a full goal head start here on Friday against Lens. Lens are playing really well right now. Look, they got promoted a couple of seasons ago. They surprised everybody. They finished seventh in the table. They finished seventh again last year. Now they're third, 2 points off Marseille and PSG at the top. So teams played this team like a newly promoted team last season, the season before. Now they're starting to treat them like a heavyweight in the league. Because of that, teams are starting to sit off them more and more deep. And it's been difficult sometimes for Lens to break down these teams. Different skill in and of itself to break down teams rather than playing in open fashion. And no one quite does sitting off and grinding out results like this Trois team. 3-game unbeaten streak right now, 1-2 of them outright. They ground out a really impressive 10-man draw against Rennes at the weekend also. And Bruno Earls has called it, solidarity in the dressing room was quotes to the press. And they're just playing as a really compact, cohesive, tough unit right now. So I'm expecting another tough game for Lens in this one. Vegas is showing a straight +1 here, but that's a big plus money price. Numerous other books showing plus 1.25 lines on this game for Trois. So shop around, get that extra plus a quarter goal as I see Trois grinding out a result tomorrow night against Lens over in French League One.
All right, Kevin Dolan, WagerTalk.com. For myself, I am going to stick to the Premier League, and this is a game we talked about earlier, the Leicester City Aston Villa game. I told you I'm sprinkling some money on Aston Villa on the money line as your show best bet. I'm going to take them on the two-way betting line because they are a pick'em. Again, with the two-way betting line, if this game ends in a draw, that pushes. So you got a little bit of insurance as far as taking a Villa here. And again, this is a play against a Leicester City team that aren't playing well right now. Brendan Rodgers is on the hot seat. And if for some reason, or if Aston Villa get off to the early lead, it's that atmosphere again at Leicester, which is, oh boy, here we go again, much like that 5-2 loss last week. We'll see what happens after this weekend. But for me, it's Aston Villa pick'em plus 105, I believe, on the two-way betting line. Guys, that's it for the show. We covered 3 games, 4 best bets. We'll be back next Tuesday, 10 a.m. with some Champions League. For myself, Nick Borrman, Kevin Dolan, and Pavlos Laguretos. This is Stoppage Time on WagerTalk TV. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck with your wagers.
Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Monday, September 12th at midnight, you can save 10% off Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT10 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, JM Sports, Joseph D'Amico, and the Rocket Man. The combinations are endless as you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make up your dream lineup? Go to WagerTalk or Sports Memo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand select your handicapping roster. Don't forget that coupon code PYT will expire on September 12th, so get your 10% discount and put together your personalized dream team today.